Sales are easy. It's making the call that's hard. Hi, my name is Dave Gallegos. I've spent the last 25 years in the mortgage industry and a lifetime in sales. In this show, I'll bring that experience, expertise, and the experts I've met to you with actionable advice to improve your sales. It's not magic. You just make the call. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Gallegos. This is episode number 27 of Make the Call. Make the Call is a podcast that is designed to help salespeople, primarily in the mortgage and real estate field. But anybody that's in sales can be helpful for this. In fact, I'm not really talking about sales on these episodes right now. I started a couple of weeks ago, or the last episode, on the subject of Darren Hardy's program, Insane Productivity. Highly recommend it. If you want to sign up for it and go check it out online. It is 12 incredibly powerful modules, training modules on mastering, on becoming more productive. And he calls it insane, learning how to get insane amounts of work done, insane productivity, sanely. So right now I'm on module 3 in this program. And I think that this is, so going back the episode before this, when I shot the episode, we have you go through the previous module. He has you go through something he calls a digital assessment. You evaluate how much digital distraction you have in your life between your phone, which has so many things that we can do. And it's just amazing to me, wherever we go now, these phones have become such a big part of our lives, these smartphones. But they're smart. The phones are smart. They're making us dumb. We're more connected than ever, and we're more disconnected personally on a personal level more than ever too. But there's more to it than that. There's a clinical psychologist at Harvard University by the name of John Ratey, talks about that the compulsive use of mobile phones and the compulsive use of computers and tablets, it's an addiction that's similar to an addiction that you would have with sex, drugs, or alcohol. I was going to say sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but that doesn't apply. Sex, drugs, and alcohol. And this is because when we make contact with these technological tools, there's a stimulation. We get stimulated by a pump of dopamine. It's a dopamine squirt that gives us a little bit of a buzz. Think about when you post something on a social media platform like Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. And if you're a very proficient user, you're very dialed in when you use it, when you don't, when you touch, how you use it. But if you are somebody who posts something and then you're constantly checking to see how many likes and how many comments you're getting and how many shares you're getting, well, then you may have a problem. That might be an indication that you're first of all, you're not being very productive, because it doesn't matter how many you got once you posted it. But the fact is that dopamine squirt feels good and we like it. And as we talked about last week, I will randomly pick up my cell phone, even if I don't get a message, even if I don't know, because my phone's on silent all the time. But if my phone's in my line of sight, if I can see it, I'll just pick it up to see if I've got a message, even though it hasn't rung. Now, think about the psychology of that. I'm checking it, even though it hasn't told me that there's anything to check. And this is interesting because there's a science behind this as well. And this is how you know that these tools are causing us to be more distracted than ever. And that is that there's something that's called random reinforcement, right? Sometimes there is a text message and sometimes there isn't a text message. And that kind of makes us crazy because we're going to look all the time. It's actually it's a compulsive. So it turns into obsessive compulsive behavior for all of us. And since this isn't the first time that I've been through this program, I recognized right away after I started the program that I need to keep my phone out of my line of sight. And so I'm committed to doing that. I mean, if I'm at my desk, if I'm working at my desk and my phone's here, if I see it, I'll grab it. All I have to do is put it about 4 feet away. If I don't see it, I'm not thinking about it. So I have that ultimate squirrel brain. I mean, I can't get a test to find out if you have ADD, attention deficit disorder, ADD. Back in 2007 or 8, my whole life, my wife had said to me that you have ADD, and we kind of laughed about it. And then I was talking to a business coach once, and I was telling him what was going on and what I was so frustrated by, my lack of ability to get stuff done and how I always felt out of control. And he said this to me. He says, "Have you ever considered that you have ADD?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I have. I'm sure I do." And he says, "Well, have you ever tried to do anything about it?" And I said, What am I going to do about it? And he says, "Well, there's medication that you take." He's like, "I'm not doing that." And he said, why do you say that? And I said, because I'm not going to walk around zoned out all the time. I don't want to. He goes, like, that's not what this is. He recommended a couple of books that I read. One of them was called Delivered to Distraction, and the other one was called Delivered from Distraction. And so I think it was Delivered to Distraction. Delivered from Distraction was the second book, written by the same guy. And it was for adults. It was for people that had adult ADD, and it's kind of a self-diagnosed thing. And man, I went through some of the characteristics, and I was like, I do a lot of this stuff. And so it was at that time that I started to realize, like, wow, maybe I have an issue here. And then I enlisted some help, and I actually took medication for times. It wasn't Ritalin. I don't remember what it was. I took it for a long time. What helped me more than anything else was developing routines and habits that I follow through. I'm a lot more organized now than I was back then. I understand a lot more about my behavior and the way that I do things. And so I have to create barriers. I have to create ways to wall things off for myself so that I can be more productive. And it's important to understand that these cell phones, these are great tools. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's amazing how much we've become to rely on them, though. But if they're causing us to be more distracted, they're not helping us. And when you see people driving in their cars and looking at their phones, can be a fatal mistake to make, right? It can be a fatal mistake to make, or probably worse than you dying in a car accident is you killing somebody while you were looking at your phone, driving your car in a car accident, right? Like, I would think that would probably be even worse, because having to live with the fact that happened to you. So please put the phone down while you're driving. Like, stop doing that stuff. We're doing things that are crazy, but even more important is, like, be present, be with the people that you're with. Too often I see people, we were in a restaurant with my dad the other day, my wife and I, and his husband and wife were sitting across from each other. They didn't say a word to each other the whole time they were sitting there, and they were just both staring at their phones. It was weird to watch, but it's normal. And I don't think that's how we're meant to live. I don't think that's how this is supposed to be. So anyway, when it comes to work, and this is about insane productivity, this isn't supposed to be social commentary. I need to make sure that I'm doing everything I can in my power to be able to focus. And that's what this is about. So all the things that I've talked about today is where the technology is winning, and we're becoming less productive. So leave the social commentary out of it. Darren makes in this module, he makes the suggestions that he makes is to focus on what's necessary to support your goals. So it's about taking a step back and figuring out what the goals are in your life that you want to accomplish, and making sure that you're focusing on what it takes to be successful in achieving those goals, and ignoring everything else, right? You do not have to be distracted, especially while you're at work. You don't have to be distracted by everything else at the detriment of your job and being able to accomplish your goals. And I think the people that are most successful are the people that are able to do that. And so I don't have to saturate my mind with all of the silly things that are out there. I don't have to look at social media and be distracted by what's going on in somebody else's life when I'm trying to stay focused on mine. Our attention directs our lives. And this is really the takeaway from this episode, is that what we focus on is what we pay attention to is what our energy goes. It's what our mind is focused on. What you focus on is what you give your energy to. And whatever you're giving your energy to is always going to expand. Right. So that's just things work. And at work, what I'm focused on right now is completing the relaunch of Zenith Home Loans. We took our company, we bought our partner out, VIP Mortgage, we bought them out of this. And anything else that I pay attention to now while I'm at work will only slow that down. Doing this podcast slows that down, just FYI, but I got to keep my episodes going. Once I realized that, it was easy to eliminate all of the distractions and focus on what's most important. This is a really good takeaway from this episode. Darren Hardy once interviewed Mario Andretti, the race car driver. And if you don't know who he is, Google him. I wish I didn't tell you to Google him, because now you're going to grab your phone. But Mario Andretti was one of the most successful Indy car drivers in the world, won the Indy 500 and a bunch of other races. He was a pretty popular dude. He asked him when he interviewed him what the most important thing to know about being a world-class race driver was. And Andretti's response was, don't look at the wall. And Darren Hardy's like, what, is that it? Just like, yeah, don't look at the wall. If you look at the wall, you're going to hit the wall. So don't look at the wall. And the message is really clear. What you focus on is what you're going to pay attention to, and is where you're going to go. You're going to go where your eyes go. You're going to go where your attention goes. It's like skiing. If you look, you're going to ski into the tree if you're staring at the tree. I ride motorcycles. If you look down or if you look at the curb, you're going to hit that curb. right? So you need to like stay, you need to look where you want to go. And it's one of the things that we teach, but it's in driving, it's in skiing, it's in motorcycle riding, it's surfing, it's anything like that. That's what you're focusing on. And that's where you're going to head. So if you look down, you're going to go down. So that's the question that you have to ask. What am I focused on? In upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about like the number one killer of productivity. Just remember this, because I talked about it in the last episode. I'm going to talk about it in every episode I have going forward, is that we all have the same amount of time every day. Elon Musk whatever time he woke up today, Elon Musk has the same amount of hours in his day that I have, right? And so there's 24 hours. You can't speed it up. You can't slow it down, but you can be more productive. You can put more into the hour. That's what these episodes are about. And that's what I want to continue to talk about. We're coming into the new year. It's goal setting time, and becoming more productive and being more focused at work, being more productive while at work, it can help us in so many ways. First of all, it'll make it easier to reach our goals. Second of all, it's going to give us a better balanced life. It's amazing how much you can accomplish if you stay focused on the task, block out all the distractions. And that's what I want for all of you. So that's the message this week. We're going to talk some more. Darren Hardy's quote this week is not about doing more. It's about doing the right things. Cut out the distractions and laser in on what matters most. That's the message from Darren this week. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, my name is Dave Gallegos. I'm your host of Make the Call. I'm the president of Zenith Home Loans. And if you've liked this, please give us a like, give us a rating, and share this with your friends. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Make the Call with Dave Gallegos, brought to you by Zenith Home Loans. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, and share the show with a friend or colleague who would also find value.